Senators, representatives, the chief of staff, the legislative director. It can seem intimidating to reach out to people with such official titles, but really, they're just people, and it's their job to listen to what you, as their constituent, has to say. So this week, we visited Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island at his office in Washington, D.C. to get a peek at what congressional offices are really like on the inside. But first, here's some tips on visiting an elected official. After identifying which official you want to speak to, you can schedule a meeting by going to their website. And if they don't have a scheduling form, there should be an email or phone number you can contact to schedule a visit. In which case, you'll also need to be prepared to send a request letter. This is something where you let them know who all will be visiting, what issues you want to discuss, and give them your contact information. If you haven't heard from the scheduler after a week, don't hesitate to follow up. Remember that the legislator's schedule may not match up with yours. It isn't unusual to get a meeting with staffers instead. For a full explanation of different types of meetings and ways to set them up, check out the resource document in the description box below. Now, once you've got the visit scheduled, you just need to prepare. Make notes of what you want to discuss, make sure your group is all on the same page logistically, and plan what to wear. It's best to wear business attire to a meeting at a congressional office. If you're going as a group, you can coordinate t-shirts with your campaign message, so long as it's not inflammatory. You want to keep the meeting positive. But otherwise, it's best to keep it professional. Things like a nice shirt and slacks, a skirt or a dress, or even a suit. So let's class this up a little before we head out. Thanks. Hi, I'm here to see Senator Reed.
Okay, great. And can I just tell him who's here?
Yeah, Jack Bird.
Jack Bird. And what's the group that you're with?
I'm with the American Library Association and the Harry Potter Alliance.
Okay, great. I'll let them know that you're here. If you want to take a seat, you're
Yeah.
more than welcome to.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
So thank you for joining us, Senator Reed. And how long have you been in office?
I was elected to the House of Representatives in 1990 and the Senate in 1996.
And what made you want to become a senator?
Well, I had been involved with public service since I started at West Point at 17. I was in the Army for 12 years. I think it's a very important role. It's very satisfying, and I think it's something we can make a contribution.
So on that note, why do you think it's important for people to, if there's important issues that they care about, to get in contact with your office?
Well, we depend upon people to contact our office. Actually, knowledgeable citizens. And we're lucky in Rhode Island because it's a small state and we have a lot of personal contact. But knowledgeable citizens can really empower their legislators with ideas, experiences, inspiration, encouragement. All those things are very important. And I think that's one of the advantages we have as a nation. We've got a lot of people who are thoughtful and will come forward and give good advice. There's complaints, and that's part of the process too, but a lot of it is just very sound advice based on practical experience, how we can make things better for everyone.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What form of contact do you think has the most impact? If someone's emailing or writing a letter or phone calls?
Well, today emailing is very, very efficient. The letters, we respond to all of our letters. We try our utmost to do so. And personal contact, you'd be surprised if you stop a congressman or senator in the grocery market and said, I like libraries a lot. Well, how do you feel about it? They remember that. They really do.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of impact does that have on your decisions?
Well, it basically, we get a reaction. People want to, what issues are important for people that I represent. Mm-hmm. That's a critical way we prioritize a lot of our efforts. There are national issues and local issues, they merge, but it's important to gauge what is really preoccupying the attention of a lot of Rhode Island citizens.
And so you spoke a little bit about you've been involved in public service. It's something that you've been very passionate about for most of your life.
Right.
Can you speak a little generally why you think it's important for young people especially to get involved with advocacy or public service?
Well, I think there's a perspective that young people have shaped by their experiences, which are different than my experiences. They grew up in an age of electronic communication and social media. Well, this is a dynamic and changing world, and their perspectives are sometimes much more on point, frankly, than some of the recollection I have of what it's like to be 20 and 25 or 30.
Right.
So that's important too. I think also it's a generational responsibility. I mean, you've got to step up. You can't assume that they'll take care of it. That's, again, the value of this country, where citizens have great rights, but they also have important responsibilities. One is to get engaged, be active locally, and then the old axiom, all politics is local, is true. So if you're involved in your local library board, if you're involved in local school committee issues about education policy, access to school libraries, that is hugely important. You don't just have to be talking about an issue before the Congress.
What is sort of a typical day like?
I think there is no typical day. I think every day varies depending on what the Senate is undertaking on the Senate floor, what the senators' committee assignments, what they're doing in committee, what hearings they might be doing, what legislation they might be considering, what meetings the senator might be having with constituents, which every day changes.
So when people are wanting to contact the office about an issue they care about, when they call the number, who answers the phone here in the office?
So if they call Washington, Dylan, who you met out front, will answer the phone, or Rosemary, who works with Dylan. People also call our offices in Rhode Island. And so we have an office in Providence and an office in Cranston, and so people can call those offices as well. And we are very collaborative, so we share the information, so it doesn't matter what office a constituent calls. We'll make sure that that the issue is recorded and noted, and that the senator's informed.
Yeah, what's sort of the process like? If someone calls, what happens? What should they have prepared?
Sure. Well, I think they should have prepared something that they're wanting, the point that they want to get across, because their voice matters so much. To the extent that they just want to share an opinion, they can leave that message with our front office person who's going to answer the phone. If they have a particular policy issue or question, they might ask to speak with the person who handles that particular policy area, so that way they can provide that more additional detail information. The senator's staff, all of us, are wanting to hear from constituents and wanting to understand their point of view, their advocacy, their reasons for calling. Are very vital, and their voices matter. And change in Washington takes a while, but if you are persistent, get your friends to call, your family to call, spread out the network of people who are interested in an issue area, and make that voice multiply.
As sort of a final thought, do you each have maybe a piece of advice for constituents who want to get their voice heard?
I would just say that in my experience working on Capitol Hill, members really respond to young people who take the time to get informed about an issue and come and advocate on behalf of an issue, or just tell the members what's going on and what's important to them, and what their hopes are for the future, because members are elected to make a better future for their constituents. And so when young people come and visit with their members, that's a really powerful connection.
And so it's energizing to have the next generation express themselves, engage in the process, and make their voice heard about the issues that are of concern to them, that are very important for us to consider here in Washington as we move legislation.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, and thank you for letting us invade your office and see what it's like.
When you finish an in-person meeting, it's good to leave them something to remember you by. Leave-behinds are documents that outline your issue for your representative and should be clear and to the point. When you're putting one together, think about what information will likely be helpful to remind the staffers about what you discussed. Include background information about the issue, relevant talking points, statistics or infographics, and your contact information. This is an easy way to provide a busy congressional office with a reference on the issues you talk to them about. Plus, they'll know who to follow up with if they have questions later. We put an example document in the description box if you want more ideas. For this week's challenge, visit a local or state government building. Most of them offer tours, so plan a visit and take away some of the mystery so that it's less intimidating when you want to go back and advocate for an issue. Next time, we'll go over some of the ways you can reach out to representatives even if you can't make it to an in-person meeting. So until then, thanks for watching and good luck.